The warning. In the vastness of space, the Galactic Empire held a meeting in a grand chamber. The walls glimmered with the light of distant stars, and many alien leaders filled the room. Each species was unique. Some had scales, others had fur, and some were almost unrecognizable. They were all there for one reason: Earth. At the head of the table sat Chancellor Kar, a tall, sharp-featured being from the planet Sarthar. He believed in strength and power above all else. He leaned forward, his piercing eyes surveying the room. "Earth is a weak planet," he declared. "We must conquer it before they have a chance to rise against us." Murmurs of agreement filled the chamber. Leaders exchanged glances, nodding in agreement with Kar. They had heard stories about Earth, tales of humans being small and frail. "They are nothing but a primitive species," said Zelra, a green-skinned alien with multiple eyes. "We have nothing to fear." But in the back of the room, an elder named Zoreth raised a hand. His skin was wrinkled, and he had seen many battles and the rise and fall of empires. "I advise caution," he said, his voice steady but firm. "We have underestimated others before. We cannot dismiss the humans so easily." Kar scoffed at the elder. "You speak of caution, Zoreth, but you do not see the truth. Earth is surrounded by weaker races. If we show our might, they will bow before us." He waved a hand dismissively, silencing the elder's warnings. Zoreth looked around the room. "I have traveled to Earth," he continued, his tone serious. "I have seen their spirit. They may seem weak, but their strength lies in their unity and determination. We could provoke them into a fight we are not ready for." The other leaders grew restless. "Why listen to an old fool?" One shouted. "We have ships, technology, and an army. We are the Galactic Empire." Kar seized this moment to rally support. "Exactly. Our forces are unmatched. We will send a fleet to Earth. Show them who is in charge." The room erupted in cheers, the sound echoing through the vast chamber. The Empire was hungry for conquest. But Zoreth remained calm. "You will regret this. Humans fight for their home, and they have a resilience that can surprise even the strongest of us," he warned, but his voice was lost among the rising enthusiasm. The leaders were already dreaming of glory, of expanding their empire, of dominating a new world. Days passed, and soon a fleet of ships was prepared. The Galactic Empire's best and brightest were ready to set course for Earth. The ships shimmered in the dark void, engines roaring as they prepared to leave the Empire behind. Kar stood on the command ship, looking out at the stars with a confident smirk. "They will bow to us," he thought. "They have no idea what is coming." Meanwhile, on Earth, life continued as usual. People went about their daily routines, unaware of the impending threat. In a small town, a group of friends gathered at a cafe, discussing their weekend plans. They laughed and shared stories, completely oblivious to the fact that the fate of their planet was about to change. Suddenly, a loud alarm rang out, breaking the peaceful chatter. The townsfolk looked around in confusion, and a voice echoed through the town's loudspeakers. "Emergency alert. Please remain calm and proceed to your nearest evacuation center." "What is happening?" one friend asked, worry etched on her face. "Is it a drill?" "I don't think so," replied another, glancing at the sky. Dark clouds began to gather, and the air felt heavy. Something was coming, and it didn't feel right. Back in the Galactic Empire's command ship, Qatar received reports of Earth's defenses. "They are weak. They do not even know we are coming," he laughed. "Prepare for landing. Let us show them our might." As the fleet approached Earth, Zoreth watched from his distant planet, a deep worry settling in his heart. He could only hope that the humans would rise to defend themselves, but he feared it would not be enough. He knew from his experience that underestimating an opponent could lead to disastrous consequences. "Please, let them be ready," Zoreth whispered to himself, staring at the stars. He had seen the power of unity in many species, but there was something special about humanity. They had a spark, a fire that could ignite against all odds. Back on Earth, the atmosphere grew tense. News channels flashed warnings, and people scrambled to understand what was happening. Scientists studied the skies, military leaders prepared their forces, and the general population felt a mix of fear and confusion. "Whatever is out there, we need to be ready," a military leader said during an emergency meeting. "We don't know what we are up against, but we will protect our home." The townsfolk began to gather, sharing information, forming groups. They might have seemed small, but their spirit was strong. The humans were coming together, united for one cause, to defend their planet. As the Galactic Empire descended toward Earth, they were filled with arrogance. They believed victory was in their grasp, but the humans were about to show them just how wrong they were. The stage was set. The warning had been given, but would anyone heed it? Only time would tell, and the fate of Earth hung in the balance. The unexpected defense. The Galactic Empire's fleet loomed above Earth, a dark cloud of advanced warships ready to unleash chaos. Tar stood on a command ship, his eyes gleaming with confidence as he watched the planet below. "Prepare to initiate landing protocols," he ordered. "We will take this world before they even know what hit them." Meanwhile, on the ground, panic was starting to shift into determination. People huddled in groups, exchanging ideas on how to respond. News of the alien fleet spread quickly, igniting a spark of courage among the populace. Many began to mobilize, armed with the knowledge and tools they had at their disposal. In a small town, a group of friends gathered at their local community center, now transformed into an emergency operations hub. Sarah, a bright-eyed college student studying engineering, stood at the front of the room. "We can't just wait for them to attack. We need a plan," she said, her voice steady despite the fear that buzzed in the air. Jake, a former military reservist, nodded in agreement. "I've trained for situations like this. We need to set up defenses. If we can slow them down, we might buy time for the military to organize." A man named Ahmed, known for his skills in technology, chimed in. "I can work on disabling their ships if we get access to their systems, but I need the right equipment." The others looked at him, eyes brightening at the prospect of a counterattack. "Let's gather whatever we can," Sarah urged. "Tools, weapons, anything that could help. We need to fight for our home." As the group dispersed, the atmosphere shifted from fear to resolve. They began to arm themselves with whatever they could find: kitchen knives, baseball bats, and makeshift tools. Neighbors joined forces, pooling resources, and sharing knowledge. High above, the alien fleet descended. The ships were massive, their dark hulls glistening ominously against the blue of the planet. Tar's voice crackled through the command ship. "This is it, my brothers and sisters. We will show these humans our power. Prepare the landing crafts." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the fleet. "We are receiving strange signals from the planet," an officer reported, panic creeping into his voice. "They appear to be organizing, communicating with one another." Tar's smirk faded. "What? They're supposed to be primitive. Launch the landing crafts now. We will crush their spirits before they can react." As the landing crafts descended, they unleashed a barrage of energy blasts towards the Earth. But down below, humans were ready. Sarah and her friends had set up barricades made from discarded furniture and crates in the town square. They looked up at the incoming threat, their hearts pounding, but their resolve unbroken. "Here they come," Jake shouted, adrenaline surging through him. The group braced themselves, adrenaline pumping. They had no advanced weaponry, but they had something just as powerful: unity. As the first landing craft touched down, the air was charged with energy. A hatch opened, and alien soldiers emerged, armored and equipped with strange weapons. They were intimidating, with their sharp features and alien technology. But the humans stood their ground. "Hold your positions," Sarah yelled, raising a makeshift flag. It wasn't much, but it symbolized their stand against the invaders. The group shouted back, their voices united in a battle cry that echoed through the streets. The aliens advanced, confused by the humans' sudden bravery. They had expected chaos and fear, not a defiant stand. The first energy blast shot towards the humans, but they ducked and rolled, using the barricades for cover. Ahmed quickly set up his laptop, trying to hack into the alien systems. "If I can just get access, I might be able to create a diversion," he muttered, fingers flying across the keyboard. "Just be quick," Jake called out, dodging another energy blast. "We need that distraction now." As the battle began, Sarah spotted a group of civilians running towards the community center. "Get inside. We need to protect everyone," she shouted. They rallied those who could, bringing them to safety as the fight continued. Tar watched from above, bewildered. "What is happening down there?" "They're actually fighting back," he barked, his arrogance shaken. "Send in more troops. Show them their place." As more alien soldiers descended, the humans fought valiantly. They threw whatever they could find, from stones to improvised explosives. They were outmatched, but their heart and spirit fueled them. Suddenly, Ahmed shouted, "I'm in." "I've hacked into their systems." With a few swift commands, the alien ships began to flicker and hum. The lights dimmed, and some of the enemy's weapons shut down unexpectedly. "Now's our chance," Jake yelled. "Push forward." The humans surged ahead, taking advantage of the confusion among the aliens. As they pressed the attack, the alien soldiers faltered. They had never encountered such fierce resistance from what they thought was a weak species. The tide was turning, and the humans were fighting back with everything they had. Tar's eyes widened in disbelief. "This is not how it was supposed to go," he exclaimed. He realized they had underestimated the humans. In their rush for conquest, they had ignored the most powerful weapon of all, their will to protect their home. As the battle raged on, it became clear that the humans were not just defending their planet. They were igniting a spirit of rebellion that would echo through the stars. The Galactic Empire had awakened something in humanity they had not anticipated, a fierce determination to fight for their survival. And so the unexpected defense of Earth had begun, proving that even in the darkest of times, hope could shine through the smallest sparks of bravery. The fight was far from over, but humanity was ready to stand together, united against the oncoming storm. The turning point. As the battle continued, the chaos of the alien invasion brought both fear and determination to the hearts of the humans. Despite being vastly outnumbered, they stood their ground, refusing to yield. The streets echoed with the sounds of conflict, blasts of energy, shouts of defiance, and the clatter of makeshift weapons. In the command ship, Qatar was growing increasingly frustrated. "Why aren't they retreating?" he demanded, his face flushed with anger. "These humans are supposed to be weak." The alien officer replied, "They are fighting back, sir. We are experiencing unexpected resistance. Their numbers are small, but they are organized and determined." Qatar clenched his fists. "This isn't just a simple conquest anymore. We need to crush their spirit completely." He pointed towards the battle below. "Send in the heavy troops. We'll show them the true power of the Galactic Empire." Back on Earth, the tide of the battle shifted in unexpected ways. Sarah, Jake, and Ahmed had rallied their fellow townsfolk, creating a makeshift defense network that allowed them to fight back against the invading forces. They had devised a plan to use the aliens' own technology against them. "Ahmed, can you create an EMP burst?" Sarah shouted over the sounds of battle, her heart racing. "We could disable their weapons temporarily." "I can try. Just give me a few minutes." Ahmed replied, fingers racing over his laptop keyboard. He was sweating, but he focused on the task at hand. The pressure was on, and the stakes had never been higher. Meanwhile, Jake led a small group of volunteers to the edge of the battlefield. "We need to hold them off while Ahmed works," he instructed. "We can't let them break through our lines." The group nodded, gripping their improvised weapons tightly. They took cover behind barricades, ready to face the next wave of alien soldiers. As the heavy alien troops began to land, the humans prepared for the worst. The towering figures of the aliens emerged from their crafts, clad in dark armor and carrying powerful weapons. The sight sent chills down the spines of those fighting on the ground. But instead of succumbing to fear, they steeled themselves for the fight ahead. "Remember, we're fighting for our home," Sarah called out. "We can't let them take it from us." With renewed courage, the humans charged at the aliens as they landed, surprising them with their boldness. The two groups clashed violently, energy blasts lighting up the air, and the sound of conflict ringing out through the streets. Just as it seemed that the aliens were gaining the upper hand, Ahmed shouted, "I'm ready." He activated his EMP device, and a wave of energy rippled through the battlefield, causing alien weapons to flicker and fail. "Now," Jake yelled, "push forward." Taking advantage of the aliens' momentary confusion, the humans surged ahead, attacking with renewed vigor. The tide of battle shifted dramatically as humans began to push back against the aliens, the initial fear giving way to determination. Tar watched from his command ship, realizing the gravity of the situation. "What is happening?" he shouted, his voice tinged with disbelief. How can they be fighting so fiercely? As the humans fought, they remembered the warnings they had received about the Galactic Empire. They had been told to prepare, to unite, and now they were proving that they could stand against their oppressors. Each victory on the battlefield fueled their resolve. In the midst of the chaos, Sarah spotted a group of alien soldiers attempting to flank them. "We need to cut them off," she shouted, leading a small group to intercept the aliens before they could reach the civilians. As they engaged in battle, Jake's heart raced. He had fought in training exercises, but this was real. This was for survival. With each alien soldier they took down, he felt a surge of hope. They were not just defending, they were reclaiming their home. Tar's frustration turned to fury as he saw his forces falter. "Send in the drones. We cannot lose to these pathetic creatures," he commanded, desperation creeping into his voice. As the drones began to flood the battlefield, humans faced yet another challenge. But this time, they had something the aliens didn't: unity and heart. "We faced worse than this," Sarah shouted to her friends. "We can do this." The humans rallied once more, devising a plan to counter the drones. They set up barriers and used makeshift nets to trap them, working together as a well-oiled machine. It was a stunning display of human creativity and resilience. As the drones fell one by one, Tar realized that this wasn't just a battle, it was a lesson. Underestimating humanity had been his greatest mistake. Back on the ground, Ahmed continued to hack into the alien systems, a fire burning in his eyes. "I can access their command system. If I can disrupt their communications, we might turn the tide completely." "Do it," Jake shouted, fighting back-to-back with Sarah against a wave of alien soldiers. With a final surge of energy, Ahmed disabled the enemy's communication, sending chaos rippling through their ranks. The aliens, no longer able to coordinate, were thrown into disarray. In that moment, the humans pressed their advantage, pouring into the ranks of the alien soldiers. Shouts of victory began to rise as they pushed forward, reclaiming their streets and their home. The turning point had arrived, and it was clear that humanity would not go down without a fight. They had taken their stand, and now the Galactic Empire was beginning to understand the true meaning of resistance. The humans were united, strong, and ready to defend their world, proving that they were more than just a planet to be conquered. They were a force to be reckoned with. The fight for Earth. As the battle raged on, the humans experienced a surge of adrenaline. They felt a sense of unity that they had never known before. They were not just individuals, they were part of something greater. Each blast fired, each alien soldier taken down, fueled their determination to protect their home. In the command ship, Qatar's frustration turned to fear. "What is wrong with my troops?" he yelled, his voice echoing through the control room. The sight of his forces struggling against the humans was humiliating. We need to regroup and strategize. Prepare the heavy artillery. Meanwhile, the humans continued to push back against the invading alien forces. Sarah, Jake, and Ahmed led their group through the streets, rallying more civilians to join their fight. The neighborhood that had once felt quiet and ordinary was now alive with the sounds of war. "Everyone, listen up," Sarah called, her voice ringing out above the chaos. "We can't let them break our lines. We're stronger together. Keep fighting." The others nodded, inspired by her determination. Ahmed had a plan. "I think I can access their systems again," he said, breathing heavily as he crouched behind a wall. "If I can get into their mainframe, I can disable their reinforcements." "Then do it. We'll cover you," Jake replied, glancing at the advancing aliens. The pressure was on, and they knew they had to act fast. As Ahmed worked on his computer, Sarah and Jake took up defensive positions. The aliens were regrouping, and they could see the heavy artillery being deployed. They needed to act quickly to gain the upper hand. "Look out!" Jake shouted as a blast from the alien artillery exploded nearby. Debris flew into the air, and they barely managed to take cover in time. The streets shook under the power of the alien weapons. "Ahmed, hurry," Sarah urged, her heart pounding. "We need that access." "I'm almost there," Ahmed replied, his fingers flying over the keyboard. "Just a few more seconds." The pressure was mounting as alien soldiers closed in on their position. The humans fought back fiercely, their spirits ignited by the belief that they were fighting for their home. They took cover, firing back with everything they had. Just then, Ahmed shouted, "I'm in. Disabling reinforcements now." He focused intensely on the screen, sweat beading on his forehead. With a flick of his wrist, he initiated the shutdown of the alien systems. Almost instantly, a wave of chaos swept through the alien ranks as they realized their backup was gone. Confusion set in, and the aliens struggled to communicate with one another. Jake seized the opportunity. "Now, push forward." He led the charge, the humans following his lead, overwhelming the stunned alien soldiers. The fight became more intense, but the humans were fueled by a newfound determination. They had turned the tide of the battle, and each victory over the aliens only strengthened their resolve. Meanwhile, Tar was losing control of the situation. "Send in the elite forces," he ordered, desperation creeping into his voice. "We must crush these humans before they grow more confident." As the elite alien soldiers arrived on the battlefield, the atmosphere shifted once more. These warriors were larger, better equipped, and trained to conquer. The humans braced themselves, knowing that this was a crucial moment. "We can't give up now," Sarah shouted, rallying her friends. "We've come too far to back down." With that, the humans prepared to face the elite alien troops. They knew they were outmatched in terms of firepower and training, but their determination to protect their home outweighed their fear. "Remember what we're fighting for," Jake reminded them, gripping his weapon tightly. "We are fighting for our families, our friends, our future." As the two forces clashed, the battle became more brutal. Energy blasts filled the air, and the sounds of combat echoed through the streets. The humans fought with everything they had, their hearts beating in rhythm with their will to survive. And continued to work, trying to gain control over the alien systems. "I need more time," he called out as he struggled to maintain his focus amidst the chaos. "Hold on, we're coming," Sarah shouted back, firing at the advancing elite soldiers. The humans pushed back, their resolve unyielding. They fought as if every moment was their last, their spirits unbroken. With every blast and every enemy soldier taken down, the humans began to believe in their own strength. They were not merely defending. They were reclaiming their planet from those who thought they could easily conquer it. Tar watched the battle unfold with growing horror. "This is unacceptable," he bellowed, gripping the edge of his control panel. The humans had shown a strength that he had not anticipated. We cannot lose to them. Back on the battlefield, Omd finally shouted, "I did it. I have control." The tide shifted once more as he began to disable alien weapons and equipment across the battlefield. "Now's our chance," Jake yelled, and the humans surged forward with renewed vigor. They took advantage of the confusion among the elite soldiers, pushing them back with everything they had. The sight of the once confident aliens faltering filled the humans with hope. They were proving that they could stand against their oppressors. Each fallen alien was a testament to their resilience, and each step forward brought them closer to victory. As the battle raged, it became clear that the humans were not just fighting for survival. They were fighting for their very existence. They had become a force to be reckoned with, proving that they would not be bullied, not anymore. In the heart of the chaos, humanity was rising, and the Galactic Empire was beginning to understand the true meaning of resistance. Earth was their home, and they would fight for it at all costs. The turning tide. The battle for Earth raged on, with both sides suffering losses. The humans fought fiercely, driven by their will to protect their home. As the elite alien soldiers pressed forward, their advanced tactics and technology presented a new challenge for the defenders. Yet the humans stood firm, adapting and strategizing on the fly. Ahmed, still connected to the alien systems, continued to disable their weaponry and communication networks. "I can slow them down, but we need to keep pushing," he shouted over the sounds of explosions and gunfire. "Let's do it," Sarah responded, determination shining in her eyes. She had seen too much destruction to back down now. "We can't let them regroup." Jake rallied their small group. "We need to flank them. If we can hit their sides, we might break their lines." The humans nodded, ready to follow his lead. As they moved into position, the aliens began to reorganize themselves. Tar realized that the tide was turning against him. "Reinforcements are coming. We cannot lose this battle," he shouted to his troops, trying to maintain their morale. The aliens were formidable, but the humans had something that Tar underestimated: heart. They fought not only with weapons, but with their determination to protect their future. The humans launched their flank attack. Jake and Sarah led the charge, weaving through the alien ranks. Explosions erupted around them, but they pressed on, focused on their goal. As they engaged the enemy, Jake found himself face to face with an elite alien soldier. The alien was larger, clad in advanced armor, and wielding a plasma rifle. "You think you can defeat me, human?" the alien sneered. Jake clenched his jaw, adrenaline coursing through him. "I don't just think it, I know it." He fired his weapon, catching the alien off guard. The shot struck true, and the elite soldier fell to the ground. Meanwhile, Sarah was working alongside Ahmed, directing the flow of the battle. "How's it going, Ahmed?" she called out, ducking behind cover as another blast whizzed past her. "I'm getting more control over their systems, but we need to push forward before they can regroup," Ahmed replied, sweat dripping from his brow as he continued typing furiously. As the humans pressed their advantage, they began to notice the aliens faltering. Confusion spread among the elite soldiers, and the once confident Qatar began to panic. "Fall back. Regroup," he shouted, but his orders were drowned out by the chaos of battle. The humans sensed the shift in momentum and seized the opportunity. "Now, keep pushing," Jake yelled, leading the charge toward the disorganized alien forces. The humans fought harder, their spirits lifted by the sight of the enemy in retreat. Suddenly, a powerful explosion rocked the area. The alien artillery that Ahmed had disabled now malfunctioned, causing destruction within their own ranks. The humans cheered, realizing that the tide was truly turning in their favor. "Look, they're falling apart," Sarah shouted, her heart racing with hope. "We can win this." But the battle was far from over. Qatar, determined to salvage his forces, activated the last of their reserves. "Prepare for a final assault. We will crush these humans once and for all," he commanded, his voice laced with desperation. The remaining elite soldiers gathered themselves for one last push. They charged forward, their eyes filled with rage. The humans braced for impact, knowing that they had to withstand this final onslaught. "Stay together," Jake yelled, his voice steady amidst the chaos. "We can't let them break our lines." As the two sides clashed once more, the battlefield became a whirlwind of violence. Humans and aliens fought with everything they had, each side desperate for victory. The sounds of clashing weapons and shouts filled the air. In the thick of the battle, Omd managed to get a clearer picture of the alien forces. "I can target their leadership," he shouted. "If we take out Qatar, we might cause a full retreat." "Do it," Sarah urged, her heart racing. "We need to end this." Ahmed focused intently on the command ship, his fingers flying over the keyboard. "I'm locking on now." He fired off a digital attack that disrupted the alien communications, sending chaos through their ranks. As Qatar attempted to issue commands, his voice was drowned out by static. "What's happening?" he shouted, his eyes wide with disbelief. Panic spread among his troops as they realized they were losing control. "Now, strike at their leader," Jake yelled, leading his team toward the command ship. They were determined to take down the alien leader and break the remaining troops' will. As they approached, Qatar spotted them and raised his weapon, fury boiling in his veins. "You think you can take me down? I am a commander of the Galactic Empire." But the humans charged with unwavering determination. "We are humans. We fight for our home," Sarah yelled, firing her weapon at the alien leader. The shot hit Qatar's shoulder, knocking him off balance. The commander stumbled back, and panic finally took hold of him. He realized that his forces were losing and that he was about to be captured. As the humans closed in on him, Qatar made one last desperate attempt to fight back. But the numbers were against him. The humans swarmed, overwhelming him. "End of the line, alien," Jake said as he raised his weapon, ready to deliver the final blow. Qatar stared back defiantly, but he knew it was futile. "You may have won today, but the Galactic Empire will not forget this," he spat, his voice filled with venom. With one decisive move, Jake pulled the trigger. The alien commander fell, and with him, the hope of the Galactic Empire to dominate Earth. A wave of relief washed over the humans as they realized the battle was won. They stood together, battered but unbroken, and cheered their victory. Earth was safe, at least for now, and they had proven that they would not be easily defeated. The fight had brought them together in a way they had never experienced before. They had become not just survivors, but defenders of their home, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. "You said." As the humans pressed their advantage, they began to notice the aliens faltering. Confusion spread among the elite soldiers, and the once confident Qatar began to panic. "Fall back. Regroup," he shouted, but his orders were drowned out by the chaos of battle. The humans sensed the shift in momentum and seized the opportunity. "Now, keep pushing," Jake yelled, leading the charge toward the disorganized alien forces. The humans fought harder, their spirits lifted by the sight of the enemy in retreat. Suddenly, a powerful explosion rocked the area. The alien artillery that Ahmed had disabled now malfunctioned, causing destruction within their own ranks. The humans cheered, realizing that the tide was truly turning in their favor. "Look, they're falling apart," Sarah shouted, her heart racing with hope. "We can win this." But the battle was far from over. Qatar, determined to salvage his forces, activated the last of their reserves. "Prepare for a final assault. We will crush these humans once and for all," he commanded, his voice laced with desperation. The remaining elite soldiers gathered themselves for one last push. They charged forward, their eyes filled with rage. The humans braced for impact, knowing that they had to withstand this final onslaught. "Stay together," Jake yelled, his voice steady amidst the chaos. "We can't let them break our lines." As the two sides clashed once more, the battlefield became a whirlwind of violence. Humans and aliens fought with everything they had, each side desperate for victory. The sounds of clashing weapons and shouts filled the air. In the thick of the battle, Omd managed to get a clearer picture of the alien forces. "I can target their leadership," he shouted. "If we take out Qatar, we might cause a full retreat." "Do it," Sarah urged, her heart racing. "We need to end this." Omd focused intently on the command ship, his fingers flying over the keyboard. "I'm locking on now." He fired off a digital attack that disrupted the alien communications, sending chaos through their ranks. As Qatar attempted to issue commands, his voice was drowned out by static. "What's happening?" he shouted, his eyes wide with disbelief. Panic spread among his troops as they realized they were losing control. "Now, strike at their leader," Jake yelled, leading his team toward the command ship. They were determined to take down the alien leader and break the remaining troops' will. As they approached, Qatar spotted them and raised his weapon, fury boiling in his veins. "You think you can take me down? I am a commander of the Galactic Empire." But the humans charged with unwavering determination. "We are humans. We fight for our home," Sarah yelled, firing her weapon at the alien leader. The shot hit Qatar's shoulder, knocking him off balance. The commander stumbled back, and panic finally took hold of him. He realized that his forces were losing and that he was about to be captured. As the humans closed in on him, Qatar made one last desperate attempt to fight back. But the numbers were against him. The humans swarmed, overwhelming him. "End of the line, alien," Jake said as he raised his weapon, ready to deliver the final blow. Qatar stared back defiantly, but he knew it was futile. "You may have won today, but the Galactic Empire will not forget this," he spat, his voice filled with venom. With one decisive move, Jake pulled the trigger. The alien commander fell, and with him, the hope of the Galactic Empire to dominate Earth. A wave of relief washed over the humans as they realized the battle was won. They stood together, battered but unbroken, and cheered their victory. Earth was safe, at least for now, and they had proven that they would not be easily defeated. The fight had brought them together in a way they had never experienced before. They had become not just survivors but defenders of their home, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. "You said, a new alliance." After the intense battle, the humans stood in the aftermath, feeling a mixture of relief and exhaustion. The smoke from the battlefield hung in the air, and the ground was littered with the remnants of both human and alien technology. But amidst the chaos, there was a sense of unity and strength among the defenders. As they regrouped, Jake, Sarah, and Omd exchanged weary smiles. "We did it," Sarah said, still catching her breath. "We actually won." "But it wasn't just luck," Omd added, glancing at the remaining troops. "We fought together, and we used our strengths wisely." Jake nodded, looking out at the field where the alien forces had once stood strong. "We need to make sure they understand this victory means something. We can't let them come back." As they began to assess the damage, they discovered several alien soldiers who had surrendered. They were terrified, eyes wide with fear and confusion. The humans gathered around them, unsure of what to do. One of the aliens, a young soldier named Karath, stepped forward. His hands were raised in a gesture of peace. "We don't want to fight anymore," he said in broken English. "We were forced to obey our leaders. We just want to go home." Jake looked at Karath, surprised by his words. "You were forced?" he asked, his voice softer now. "Yes," Karath replied. "We are not all warriors. Many of us are just like you, caught in a war we did not choose." Sarah stepped closer, sensing the tension in the air. "What if we could help you? We don't want more bloodshed, but we need to ensure our safety." Karath nodded, hope flickering in his eyes. "If you can offer us a chance, we will tell you everything we know about our leaders. We can help you understand why they attacked." The humans exchanged glances, weighing the offer. "This could be the beginning of a new alliance," Omd suggested. We can learn from each other. With a shared resolve, Jake stepped forward. All right, we will help you. But you must promise to share everything you know about the Galactic Empire. Grath nodded earnestly. I promise. We will show you the truth. As they gathered the surrendered soldiers, a new chapter began. The humans escorted Karath and his fellow soldiers to a safe zone where they could discuss their plans. The mood shifted from fear to cautious optimism. In the days that followed, the humans worked to establish a dialogue with their new allies. Karath and a group of alien soldiers shared vital information about the Galactic Empire. They explained their society's structure and the reasons behind the invasion of Earth. We were told you were weak, Karath admitted. Our leaders wanted to expand their control, and they underestimated your strength. They thought you would surrender easily. But we showed you that we won't back down, Jake replied. And we're not going to let them bully us again. The alliance began to take shape as the humans and aliens shared knowledge and strategies. Amd, fascinated by the technology of the alien forces, worked closely with Karath to adapt their weaponry for Earth's defense. Together, they created new systems that combined human ingenuity with alien technology. The humans taught the aliens about Earth's landscape and tactics, while the aliens provided insights into their own advanced strategies. As they collaborated, friendships formed. Sarah found herself bonding with Karath, who was eager to learn about Earth's culture. They spent hours talking about their lives, sharing stories of their families, and discovering common ground. I never thought I would find a friend among humans, Karath said one day, smiling. You are not what I expected. And you are not what I thought aliens would be like, Sarah replied, laughing. We have more in common than I imagined. The humans learned about the alien races and their struggles, realizing that not all beings in the galaxy sought to conquer. There were those who longed for peace, just like the humans. As the weeks went by, their alliance grew stronger. They began to formulate a plan to prepare for any potential retaliatory strikes from the Galactic Empire. They wanted to send a message that Earth was no longer an easy target. One evening, as the sun set, Jake stood with his friends on a hill overlooking the base. We've come so far in such a short time, he said, his voice filled with determination. We've turned enemies into allies, and we've proven that together we are stronger, Amd added, looking at the horizon. Sarah felt a surge of hope. We will fight for each other, no matter what comes next. But just as they were feeling confident, a distant rumble broke the calm. They turned to see ships approaching from the horizon, dark against the setting sun. They're coming, Karath exclaimed, panic rising in his voice. The Empire has sent reinforcements. Jake's heart raced as he rallied his allies. We need to prepare. We can't let them take Earth again. As the ships grew closer, the humans and their new allies sprang into action, ready to defend their home together. The time for diplomacy was over. Now, it was time to fight once more. But this time, they were not alone. The final stand. The distant rumble of the approaching ships echoed like thunder, sending a wave of tension through the ranks of humans and their newfound alien allies. Jake, Sarah, and Amd exchanged determined glances, knowing that this would be the moment they had prepared for. The Galactic Empire was coming to reclaim what they believed was theirs. Gather everyone, Jake shouted, his voice cutting through the noise. We need to organize our defenses now. The humans and their alien allies sprang into action. Soldiers moved quickly, setting up barricades and arming themselves with the combined technology they had developed. The atmosphere was electric with anticipation, a mix of fear and courage fueling their every move. Grath stood beside Jake, ready to coordinate their forces. We must use the terrain to our advantage, he said, his eyes scanning the landscape. There are hills to the east that can give us a good vantage point. Jake nodded, appreciating the alien's tactical insight. Let's position our best sharpshooters there. The rest can hold the line here. As they worked together, Sarah felt a surge of determination. We can't let them take our home, she said, her voice firm. We fight for our families, for our planet, and for each other. Hours passed as they prepared. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a fiery glow over the battlefield. When the first ships of the Galactic Empire finally appeared in the sky, their ominous silhouettes sent a shiver down the spines of the defenders. "Steady," Jake called out as the enemy vessels descended. "Remember our training. We've come too far to back down now." The alien ships hovered overhead, their weapons charging with menacing energy. From the command center aboard the leading ship, the Empire's general, a fearsome figure known as Vrax, issued orders to his troops. He had come to crush this rebellion and teach the humans a lesson. "Prepare for landing," Vrax barked. "We will show these weaklings what true power looks like." But the humans and their allies were ready. As the enemy ships descended, they unleashed a barrage of fire from their own weapons. Explosions lit up the night sky, and the ground shook beneath their feet. The combined forces of humans and Kirath's team fought side by side, demonstrating their newfound strength and unity. "Now," Jake shouted, signaling for their attack. They charged forward, using the element of surprise to their advantage. The Empire had underestimated them once again. Amidst the chaos, Sarah spotted a group of alien soldiers trying to flank their position. "I'll take care of them," she yelled to Jake, gripping her weapon tightly. She dashed toward the danger, heart racing with adrenaline. Kirath saw her bravery and rushed to her side. "Together," he urged, and they moved as one, taking out the enemy soldiers with precision. The battle raged on, filled with the sounds of explosions and the cries of both sides. Omd used his knowledge of the alien technology to set traps for the incoming forces, turning their own weapons against them. Each successful maneuver built their confidence, pushing the enemy back. As the fighting continued, the tide began to shift. The humans, bolstered by their allies, pressed forward, refusing to give an inch. Kirath rallied his fellow soldiers, encouraging them with shouts of determination. "We fight for our freedom. We fight for our home," he declared, inspiring them to push back against the Empire's forces. Vrax watched in disbelief as his troops faltered. "What is this?" he growled, fury boiling within him. "They cannot be this strong." But Jake and his allies pressed on, pushing through the lines of the alien army. The unity between humans and aliens was evident as they fought like a single entity, each supporting the other. Amid the chaos, Sarah found herself face to face with Vrax. The general was imposing, his armor glinting under the battle lights. "You think you can defeat me, little human?" he sneered, raising his weapon. But Sarah stood her ground, fear replaced by fierce resolve. "We are not afraid of you," she shouted. "You will never take our home." With that, she charged forward, weapon raised. The two clashed in a fierce struggle, each determined to claim victory. Kirath quickly joined her, and together they fought Vrax, their combined strength surprising him. Meanwhile, the battle raged around them, but the tide was shifting further in favor of the humans and their allies. More and more enemy soldiers were retreating, realizing the humans were not the weaklings they had been led to believe. With one final surge of energy, Jake and Ahmed led a charge that pushed through the last remnants of the enemy forces. Vrax, realizing defeat was imminent, began to pull back, signaling for a retreat. "Fall back. We will regroup and return," he shouted, rage echoing in his voice. The remaining enemy ships began to ascend, leaving behind the chaos of battle. Jake, Sarah, and Kirath watched as the Galactic Empire retreated into the night sky. Cheers erupted among the defenders, who couldn't believe what they had accomplished. "We did it," Sarah exclaimed, her heart swelling with pride. "Yes, we fought as one," Kirath added, smiling broadly. "This is just the beginning of our alliance." As the smoke cleared, Jake looked around at his friends and allies, feeling an overwhelming sense of hope. They had stood together against a seemingly unstoppable force, and they had won. "Tonight, we celebrate," he said, raising his weapon in triumph. "But tomorrow, we prepare. We must remain strong together, For the Galactic Empire will not forget this defeat. And with that, a new chapter began for both humans and aliens. They had forged a bond in the fires of battle. And together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, united in their fight for peace and freedom.